Yaxel Lendeborg spoke at length for the first time after it leaked that he is going to attend Michigan yesterday. We did live reaction yesterday on the channel. You can go watch that. Since then, there's been a lot of detail provided to the story of how he ended up deciding that college was the path for him instead of remaining in the NBA draft. And there's some really interesting stuff that came out of it. And I'm excited to talk through this with you. But first, we have much more pressing information to address. Yaxel Lendeborg is in our DMs.
Yaxel Lendeborg liked your tune.
Yeah, Yaxel Lendeborg posted a minute long clip of me singing a parody song about how he surprised the world and chose Michigan.
Still have no clue what song you were parroting.
It's shocked that nobody knows "Let the Drummer Kick." Did we not watch Coach Carter back in the day? Crazy.
Postcard.
Well, then you should know "Let the Drummer Kick." I digress. Yaxel, if this makes its way to you, we would love to talk with you at some point. I think you responded to a DM in the Sleepers DMs at one point, seeing if we could get you on a video for the channel. So hopefully to our audience and hopefully to you, Yaxel, maybe we can get you on our NBA Draft to Palooza show. Maybe we can get you just on a video on the side. But thank you for reposting some clips from yesterday. We really appreciate it. Anyways, to more pressing matters. He elaborated on why he chose Michigan, Cart, and these were the two quotes that I found most interesting. He started by speaking on the fact that Dusty May approached this recruitment different than every other coach that was involved. Remember, Kentucky was really prioritizing Yaxel immediately. There were many other schools who certainly would have thrown a bag and wanted Yaxel Lendeborg early. Yaxel himself told Clayton Sayfie, quote, "From the jump, Dusty May was expressing to me that he was willing to wait while I go through the combine process. Other teams weren't saying the same thing. They were willing to outbid the NBA, and I wasn't messing with that. I wanted a school that was going to rock with me from the beginning to the end. That was Dusty." Some substance in that quote to me, man. What do you make of that story from Yaxel?
Can I get your substance first on this before I respond?
I think it reiterates the main takeaway I had yesterday that Dusty May is a bad MFer with balls of steel here because he basically won this recruitment by being willing to do what no other head coach was. And it again, we said it every step of the way. If it's a bet that he placed that is wrong, he will get so much shit for it. Like this was Dusty going all in with like a pair of threes. And he called everybody else's bluff. Meanwhile, Mark Pope was like, "Well, I'll give you $4 million to play here, but you got to play here." And Yaxel was like, "No, that's the reason he committed to Michigan early." And if you want to interpret this as Mark Pope getting stuffed in a locker by my head coach, I think you could. I think he had the audacity to do something other head coaches would not, and that's why Yaxel is now at Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, look, we talked about it the whole way, how much of it was a risk. It was a risk, and when you take a risk and it works out in your favor, you should be praised for it, right? That's what you should be doing. Because if it didn't work out, we would have been on here
Yep.
bashing him and letting him know that he was an idiot for doing it. Sorry, not idiot. I don't want to use that word. He was not smart.
I would have said
For
worse words than idiot. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just it sounded a little bit mean. I'm trying to be a better person, but um, yeah, you would just be in a spot where he would be criticized to a point where he's getting eviscerated because he banked on something that didn't end up working out. This is like I think the coaches that take a risk or do something, a little different during the game, and when it works out, everyone's praising them about, oh man, that coach is a genius for doing that. But when it doesn't work out, we got 9 segments on morning ESPN shows about what went wrong with this, what went wrong with that. But Dusty gambled, he won the gamble, and he should be praised for winning that gamble.
So I'm obviously sniffing the Dusty May. I don't know, drinking the Kool-Aid. What was I going for there? Sniffing the
I was about to say,
scratch and sniff.
can we let's just not talk about
I'm
sniffing. Why don't we just
huffing the
talk
dusty paint right now. I'm huffing some dust. And
texting your
so
wife? Is this a drug call out?
Listen, so I was thinking more about this, but again, reminder, I'm looking at everything through a very maize and blue lens, obviously, and I'm as high on my head coach as I could be after he pulled this off. I think it is somewhat remarkable that when you step back broadly and look at all of the players from last year's team that could have returned, pretty much all of them wanted to. And I think that says something, right? Like, Dusty has been a pretty impressive players coach in his 1 year and like 2 months at Michigan. And the thing I feel like we hear or have evidence of from players at this point is just like they really like this dude and they trust him. And he reinforces that in various ways. But it's kind of like I was thinking more about it, truly, just the players who will come back. Like it would have made a lot of sense for LJ Kaysen to transfer. It would have made a lot of sense for Roddy Gale to leave. It would have made a lot of sense for Namari Burnett to just move on with their life, right? Like getting all three of those guys back, presumably competing for minutes with each other, while you also bring in a McDonald's All-American at the same spot, is like a little bit of a feat that I don't feel like anyone even noticed. Like players are leaving everywhere. Even schools that don't lose players are losing players that they didn't want to lose. And somehow Michigan didn't this offseason. I think the only one they really lost was Trey Donaldson, who publicly was like, yeah, I wanted to come back. Like Dusty chose another route. So I don't know. It says something to me about the fact that Dusty really has built a place that players are just happy at, even if it's not the best situation for them. And I think that's part of what got Yaxel here from the jump.
Yeah. Oh, and also in regards to other players, you got to give Dusty credit because I think he sells dreams too, which you need to do. You need to like sell players on what they want to be and what they want to accomplish, right? To a certain
Yeah.
extent, even if you don't believe it. Greg, I come on here and tell you all the time. If a player comes to Michigan State or comes to Tom Izzo and is like, I want to do this, lie to that motherfucker and tell him he can do it. All right.
Right.
And then when you don't do it, then it is what it is. Like the whole like standing on business, I don't want to lie to players things is so 2014 that I can't get with it. A little white lie can't hurt everyone. And if it works out, like, it works out. Like there's a situation where I think a lot of players on Michigan's team, including Yaxel, where like you gotta sell people on it. You gotta sell people on what they want to do and what the role they want to play. And you could believe it, and maybe it's a stretch, but you need to sell people on getting them to the school. So that's part of the deal.
Yeah, and maybe a way to put this would be there might have been some empty promises, but they can't be empty until the season gets here. We'll find out what promises were empty and what ones were not. But you go through like player by player, there's a lot of guys I'm surprised signed up for the role they're going to play. Like let's Merez Johnson left Illinois pissy that he wasn't allowed to do what he wanted when he was going to start at the 4, and now he's going to start at the 5 and has to fend off a day Mara for the 5 because Yaxel ain't coming off the floor. So like it's surprise and Merez is like promoting that he's happy Axel's coming. So I don't know what pixie
I,
dust Dusty sprinkled on this, but there's
well,
that.
yeah, you sprinkle some of this.
Sure, but there's that. There's a Mara who could have signed up to be a starter anywhere. Presumably he's going to be the sixth man on this team. Will Cheddar's going to play less minutes than he did last year and is still here. Like Namari still here, might not start. Roddy Gale still here, got benched at the end of the year. LJ Kaysen literally didn't take his warm-ups off for a month. Back and without a starting role promised. Like there are so many guys on this team that I feel like signed up for roles that might not be ideal for them. And maybe it is just money, but if it is just money, Dusty has done a great job getting this program to the point where they have the money to do that. So, the other quote that I wanted to run by you, I'm sure you'll find this one interesting. I certainly did. Yaxel himself told ESPN, quote, "It's amazing what Dusty May did with Danny Wolf. I would watch his games this season and say, man, I wish that was me. I'm trying to bring the same type of versatility he brought to Michigan."
Liar.
You don't think Yaxel was ever watching Michigan last year thinking, wow, I wish I was Danny Wolf?
Yeah, it's just maybe I need to know what game he watched. Maybe it was a specific game where Danny was cooking. I don't know. I feel like Yaxel had his sights set higher, or just I don't know. I have a hard time believing he fired up a Michigan game for Danny Wolf.
I mean, Michigan was on TV a lot. Wouldn't have been that hard to see Michigan.
No, it wouldn't have been that hard, but I wonder if he was just that enamored with Danny Wolf.
I mean, maybe he was just enamored with like, damn, I wish I could throw the ball 7 times into the third row and not be taken out of the game. Like,
I mean, it isn't. I will say this: it does have to be enticing as a player that is, this 6'10" want to do it all guy. That there's a coach in Dusty May who let a 7-footer do whatever he wanted.
yeah, it reinforces the truth here, which is that Danny Wolf went from a fun player to a top 20 draft pick in 1 year with Dusty May and was used like a 7 foot point guard in a way no one in the country his size was. So players are going to want to sign up for that. Whether or not this is true to the word of what Yaxel is saying, I 100% believe that a big part of why he's chosen to do this is what Dusty did with Danny Wolf last year. It's a great pitch. When you have a case study you can point to where I'm doing something no one else in the country is doing, and you could come be the next guy, it's a pretty good option. I have one Michigan bold prediction I'd like to throw at you. Way too early here though.
Please.
So last year, the big talking point in the offseason is like, well, they can't play Wolf and Golden together. That won't work. And then that's like all they did. They built their whole team around it. Which was, remember, it was the opposite of everything Dusty did to FAU. At FAU, he played 4 guards at all times, went super small, too small at times. So I have this hypothesis that Dusty will constantly do whatever you don't expect him to do. So I think people are looking at this roster, seeing Merez and Mara and Yaxel, thinking, damn, they got a great front court. They're going to be super big again. Or what if, will they ever play the three bigs together even? Like, what's it going to be? I think we're going to see a lot of Yaxel at the 5 small ball with this team. And I want to
Okay.
get on record with that. And Yaxel's versatile enough that it could work.
Is that because just that works, or like Mara isn't? Is that like a reaction thing to like Mara not being good?
No, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be you want to get more shooting on the floor. And realistically, all your shooters are on your bench. We talked about this. Like, other than Namari, like, you basically need one of McKenney or Kaysen or even Winters Grady or even Cheddar to play. And it's going to be hard to play those guys if you're playing Mara, Merez, and Yaxel the full time in the front. So I just, even if it's for 5 minutes a game, I have this hypothesis that like a big part of Michigan's team next year is going to be doing the thing nobody expects them to do.
If Yaxel is at the 5 in that situation, is Cheddar at the 4?
He could be, or you could go super small and put Roddy at the 4, like McKenney or Kaysen at the 3, Burnett at the 2. I think that would work. It would be that was the FAU build. Basically put one center and then like a Roddy Gale type at the 4. And I bet Dusty continues to surprise people schematically. And Yaxel's a versatile enough piece that he can now do that again.
Yeah, I agree.